Boys and girls, Earthlings, what is going on? It's Danny here, aka the Music Hermit, back with another guitar video for you all. Today we're going to be looking at how to use the power of the minor pentatonic scale to unlock your fretboard. Let's get into it. Right, so before we move on, let's first look at what a minor pentatonic scale effectively is. If you already know this, feel free to skip ahead to the later part of the video. If you want to refresh your memory, then hang out with me here for a second. Basically, in order to understand the minor pentatonic scale, first we have to understand where it comes from. A minor pentatonic scale is effectively a variation of the natural minor scale. Now, if you don't know what the natural minor scale is, or if you're not sure how it's built and constructed, then I've made another video about that, which I recommend you check out first before you come back to this one. So I'm going to assume that you're kind of familiar with the natural minor scale already. So what a minor pentatonic scale effectively is a natural minor scale, which usually has 7 notes in it, right? And we're going to take 2 of those notes out, leaving us with 5 notes, hence pentatonic, penta from the Greek, meaning 5. I'm not sure if it's the modern Greek or the old Greek. Don't quote me on that, guys, okay? So effectively, it's kind of like a modified natural minor scale. Let's look at which notes we're going to be actually taking out. So let's do this whole thing in G minor. Let's stay in G minor for today. If I had to, let me grab a pick. I've got a pick here that's been pretty badly abused, and I would like to get a better one. I'm going for a second. As a side note, don't use clear picks, okay? They're a nightmare to find if they fall on the ground. Usually we'll play a G minor scale like this, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then back to the G, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the 7 notes of the G minor scale. To get the pentatonic scale, all we're going to do is we're going to take 2 of those notes out, and these 2 notes are going to be the 2nd degree of the scale, so in this case the A, and the 6th degree of the scale, in this case the E flat, which leaves us with G, B flat, C, D, and F. The 1st, the minor 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and the minor 7th degree of the G minor scale. This gives us the minor pentatonic scale, the 5 notes of the G minor pentatonic scale, which are G, B flat, C, D, and F. So guys, these are the only notes, if you're going to stay in G minor pentatonic, the only notes that we're ever going to play. So now let's look at how we can actually use this to our benefit. What we can now create are pentatonic patterns, and we're going to create 2 note per string patterns based on this minor pentatonic scale. Now, there are going to be 5 different patterns that are going to be spaced across the guitar, and what this is going to allow us to do is to open up the guitar to the point where we can play in this minor pentatonic sound with this minor pentatonic vibe regardless of where we are on the guitar. So we're not limited to one shape or one pattern. What do I mean by this? Well, let's start by looking at what's known as the 1st position of the minor pentatonic scale, which is the one that most people will be familiar with because it's probably the one that's been used the most historically in licks and solos and things like that. The 1st pattern of the G minor pentatonic scale is going to look something like this. We're going to start on the 1st degree of the G minor scale, which is a G. And we're going to play 2 notes per string using only the notes of the G minor pentatonic scale. So G, B flat are the first 2 notes on the 1st string. Then the second 2 notes are going to be C and D, right? So then the next group of notes is going to be F and G. 2 notes per string always, yeah? Then B flat and C, D and F, G, and stop at B flat. You've probably met this pattern already, you might be familiar with it, it's the most common one, right? When people talk about the pentatonic scale, a lot of the time they're referring to the 1st position pentatonic. As always guys, you want to practice this going up and down. So practice this pattern if you haven't already, if you're not familiar with it, until you're quite sort of comfortable with it. You can use alternate picking, which I recommend. So that's the first position of the G minor pentatonic. Again, the only 5 notes we're using. If you check any note, it's going to be one of the 5 notes of the G minor pentatonic, no exception. Now, this is great, and this by itself is already quite powerful because we've got quite a cool sound that we can use, okay? Quite bluesy and very versatile sound. But what a lot of people find when they learn this stuff and these concepts is that they get stuck in this box up here, in this particular pattern, and they can't seem to get out. So whenever you're soloing or jamming and you want to use this pentatonic sound, a lot of people find themselves stuck in the, you know, this whole sort of pattern, which is fine, and there is definitely a lot of use to that. But we want to expand, we want to unlock our fretboard, okay? This is the point of this exercise. We're going to be using the minor pentatonic to open up the guitar and allow us to play anywhere with confidence, okay? So we're going to basically play more positions based on the minor pentatonic scale in different parts of the neck on the fretboard. So position 1, starting on the G. Right? Let's move to position 2. What position 2 is going to be is we're going to be playing the exact same combination of notes, so the same 5 notes always, but this time we're going to start from the 2nd degree of the minor pentatonic scale, of the G minor pentatonic scale in this case, which is the B flat. If you've noticed, this is going to be the 2nd note we played on the 1st string, right? Of the 1st position, of the 1st pattern. So now that's going to become our 1st note, and we're going to play the same notes. So the G, B flat, C, D, and F, but starting from B flat. So it's going to look something like this, sticking always to the 2 note per string rule. B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat, C. And going back. So that, guys, is position 2 of the G minor pentatonic scale. So far we've covered position 1 starting on the G, and now we have position 2 starting on the B flat. Already you can see that we've now expanded our range significantly from just staying within this kind of box, and we've moved a few frets farther down. So we already have more options in terms of what we can play using this minor pentatonic sound. Let's go to position 3, and there's going to be 5 positions in all, because why? There's 5 notes of the minor pentatonic scale, and we're going to have a pattern that starts from each of these 5 notes. Okay, that's what it effectively boils down to. Position 3 will start then from the 3rd note of the minor pentatonic scale, the G minor pentatonic scale, which is a C. Now we're going to start from the C on the low E string because we want to have a 2 note per string pattern that covers all strings every time to keep it consistent. So position 3 starting from the C is going to look something like this. I'm going to start with my 1st finger here. You'll see why. You can choose your own preferred finger combination. It doesn't matter as long as the notes you're playing are correct, okay? So starting from the C, it's going to be C, D, F, G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat, C, D. And then going back up. One more time, position 3. Going back up. Cool, so far we've covered the first 3 positions. So we've covered the position starting on G, position 1, position 2 starting on B flat, position 3 starting on C. You've guessed it. Position 4 is going to start on the next note in the G minor pentatonic scale series, which is a D. So for this particular one, again, I'm starting with the 1st finger, 1st note D, F, G, B flat. So the first 2 strings are next note, C, D, F, G, B flat, C, D, F, and back up. Cool, guys, that's position 4. Move on to the final position, position 5, which is starting now, as you've probably guessed, from F, which is the 5th note of the G minor pentatonic scale. Like this, so we've got F, G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat, C, D, F, G. Okay, so it's sort of 3 groupings of similar patterns. And back up we go. Now guys, as you've probably noticed, first of all, look at the range we've covered now. All staying in the G minor pentatonic sound. So if you're playing in G minor pentatonic now, you have all this range that you can play in and giving it sort of a different sound and different feel. Each different position has a particular sound to it. Some of them sound a bit bluesier, some of them may sound a bit more exotic. So really, it's not only a case of unlocking the fretboard, but also giving you a different sort of tonal palette that you can work with, okay? So experiment, find the different sounds of the different positions, how they sound to you, how you can use them in your own playing. Now, when you've done all 5 positions, first of all, you'll notice that we're back up here. So we're back up next to the G, which is an octave above the root where we started. So then you can actually start repeating the pattern. So you can go back to position 1, right? And then you can go to position 2 till you're out of space, keep going, doing the same thing. Another way I like to practice this exercise, once you're really comfortable with the positions, so going up and down each position, is to try and alternate. So you're going to go down position 1 and up position 2, down position 3, up position 4, down position 5, and then back down and up you go. So it will look something like this, starting on position 1. Now I'm going to slide into position 2 and go back up position 2. Once I'm there, I'm going to slide up into position 3 and go down position 3. Once I'm at the end of position 3, I'm going to slide up to position 4 and go down position 4. Once I've reached the end of position 4, up to position 5 I go and go down position 5, okay? Once you're here, what you can then do is you've got 2 options. You can either keep going up and go to the first position again, an octave higher, and keep going, or you can go back down, okay, and go back down the neck using the same 5 positions we've used. Now, what I'd recommend you do in this case to get the most out of this exercise is repeat position 5 going up first, because in this way what you're doing is you're going to be play each position in a different direction than when you played it going up the neck, so you're getting the most value out of it. So once you've played position 5 descending, repeat it ascending, then slide into position 4, and now you're going to play position 4 descending, whereas before you played it ascending. So once you've played that, slide down into position 3 and play position 3 descending. Again, use whatever finger combination you think is best for you. If you've noticed, I've used different combinations when I'm ascending position 3 than when I'm descending. But again, it depends on what suits you best. I've done that. We're going to go down position 2. And once you're here, up position 1. Once you're there, you're effectively back to where you started from, guys, and then you can do whatever. This exercise is fantastic because it really lets you explore the whole fretboard, and it shows you the power of expanding a particular scale or musical concept to as wide an area as possible, because then you're not stuck in that one little box, but you can be free, okay? That's all from me for today. Like the video if you found it useful, because this gives me feedback on my lessons and the quality of my material. And also, if you want to get notified when I release new videos, subscribe to my channel. And finally, check out my website, musichermit.com. I've got lots of resources there and fun stuff for you to check out. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.